right, it's a beautiful Sunday evening, day number 20 in the month of July 2025. Good evening, folks, and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Regional Authority, Well PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA, and our media partner on this journey of a lifetime is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to read all that happened here on the show. Tonight, we are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are streaming live at Iron Port. Iron Port. Now, we shall be getting interactive with you as usual. So all you have to do is sit back, relax, grab your phones, and send us your messages and comments ahead via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0538-037353. 0538-037353. And when the time is ripe, I shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the show. Please stay with us.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefeel. Goil, good energy. Yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena. You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately. There you have it. Serena is not just a tool, it's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain. With our range of products, including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds, we have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us on 0302 246319 or 0302 246644 or any of our branches, agencies, and brokers spread across the nation. You can as well connect with us on our WhatsApp chatbot. Efiba is waiting to assist you. Make the future predictable with Phoenix Insurance. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
All right, welcome back. So it's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry over the last week by way of local news.
The Regional Maritime University has received a significant boost to its practical training capabilities following the official commissioning of a workboat, Handler 2, donated by Modec Production Services Ghana JV Limited and its MV25 Charter Fund partners. The donation, accompanied by an additional $20,000 earmarked for vessel maintenance, is expected to enhance hands-on seamanship training for students pursuing maritime and offshore industry careers. Speaking at a ceremony held at the university's campus in Nungwa, the managing director of Modec Ghana, Theophilus Ashering, emphasized that the donation was more than a gesture of goodwill. It represented a long-term investment in technical education and the future of Ghana's offshore capabilities. Highlighting Modec's enduring partnership with RMU, he noted that over $2.3 million has been contributed to the university over the years. These include the establishment of a state-of-the-art welder training center in collaboration with Tullow Oil, accreditation support to meet Canadian and American welding standards, and a recent initiative to upgrade local welder instructors to Level 2 certification under the Canadian Welding Bureau system.
What this institution does is to train people from the maritime industry. And there is usually a huge gap between industry and academia for all the practical purposes. I mean, you don't expect a university to be able to fund or procure vessels for training. I mean, that is way above university's budget. And so this must be the preoccupation of good corporate citizens to try and support for this dream to become a reality.
The acting Vice Chancellor of RMU, Dr. Jethro Brooks Jr., expressed profound appreciation to Modec and its partners, describing the donation as a milestone in maritime education across West Africa. He reiterated a vessel's critical role in ensuring RMU meets international maritime training standards. He assured that Handler 2 would be fully integrated into the university's academic and training programs to give students practical exposure in vessel handling, emergency response, and marine safety procedures.
As he said, it adds more practical training to the students. Our students doing nautical science will have the capacity to come and see, watch the machine being run, the dashboard, what happening, how you can turn using the helm, and all the other facilities. The children with marine engineering will have the capacity to see there are two big engines on board, and so they will have the opportunity to make use of those engines.
Both Modec and RMU leadership used the occasion to emphasize the importance of sustained collaboration between academia and industry in building a globally competitive maritime workforce for Ghana and beyond. The management of RMU disclosed that they are in close talks with the Ghana Maritime Authority and the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority towards selecting the permanent site for the vessel during which it will be used for training purposes.
The Port Ladies Association of the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority-GPHA began its 2025 calendar of activities with a grooming section focused on appropriate dressing in the corporate environment. The event took place on Thursday, July 17, 2025. Renowned media personality and style coach Nancy Adobia Anane, popularly known as Miss Nancy of Media General TV3, was the guest for this section. Addressing members of the association, Ms. Nancy provided insightful tips on dressing appropriately for work, understanding different body types, and upholding proper public conduct as corporate professionals.
It's essential for you to pay attention to your personal grooming because it fosters positive self-esteem and inner well-being. You know when you look good, you feel good? Do you know why you happy smile when you meet people? It's because you don't feel wonderful. Whatever you feel is what is expressed on your face. So if you are smiling, it means you are feeling wonderful. So let us try to look good so we feel wonderful, so that we look great and we have great social interactions all the time.
In her presentation, she singled out the attire of GPHA's Deputy Manager of Marketing and Corporate Affairs, Benedicta Kukwa Agri, as a prime example of excellent corporate dressing suitable for any formal events. The president of the Port Ladies Association, Amanda Ama, expressed satisfaction with the training, describing it as long overdue. She emphasized that proper grooming not only boosts individual confidence, but also contributes to the positive image of the authority.
Once you join an organization, when you step out, you're also representing the organization. So projecting a very good image of Ghana Port and Harbours Authority is very essential to us as an association.
The people of Jijove in the Way traditional area of the Angloga district of the Volta region have expressed gratitude to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority for funding equipment in the newly built laboratory for the CHIPS compound in the area. The facility is expected to facilitate effective and rapid diagnosis, early treatment, and improved health care. Paramount Chief of the 4 traditional area, Togbigbojo III, who commissioned the laboratory, urged the people to put the facility to good use. Director of Health for the Angloga District, Jemima Akpolo, in a speech delivered on her behalf, affirmed her commitment to ensuring the utilization of the facility to its full potential.
As Director Jemima has often emphasized, accessible diagnostics are the cornerstones of effective healthcare delivery. Angloga District made strides in improving healthcare with an increased focus on early diagnosis of conditions like malaria, anemia, among others. Because these conditions are prevalent in our communities. So this laboratory will strengthen these efforts, ensuring that mothers, children, and all residents receive timely and accurate diagnosis to guide their treatment. By providing these services locally, we reduce the burden of travels and costs for our rural populations, bringing quality care closer home. This facility is a call to action for all, especially community members, leaders, and health professionals to work together toward a healthier way, Jijove.
Chairman of the fundraising committee, Professor Jeffrey Kwabla Amedufo, pledged the commitment of community leaders to remain vigilant and cooperative in transforming the CHIPS compound into a fully fledged clinic. District Chief Executive of the area, Sandra Sarah Mapedo, while commending GPHA for making this dream a reality, also urged the health officials and the people to ensure that the facility is used for its intended purpose.
The commissioning of this laboratory will enhance early diagnosis and quality care at the CHIPS compound. I want to sincerely commend all who contributed to this achievement. Let us work together to maintain and make the best use of this facility for the well-being of our people.
All right, so welcome back. Tonight we are hard pressed for time because our program is super packed. We have our program in 2 segments or in 2 phases today. The second one would have to deal with the issue of handling of dangerous cargo, in our ports and along our logistics corridor here in Ghana. Indeed, we have commenced the 24-hour operations in the ports, and it's drawn from the need for us to be mindful and careful of the way we handle dangerous cargo in the port. And so we don't have any better organization or persons or individuals to speak to us, either than those from the Port Fire and Safety Department, as well as the terminal that is dedicated to handling solely dangerous cargo. That's going to be our second discussion. But our main discussion tonight, that's the first one, would have to do with our Director General. That's a big fish. The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the venerable and vintage Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanya. We happened to catch him in his office, and our conversation with him delved into areas such as his vision for the authority, logistics, and as it were, equipment situation in the port. We also took a look at the 24-hour economy, as well as his relationship and what the staff or management and workers, so to speak, of the Port Authority and stakeholders should look out for as far as his leadership is concerned. And so that's going to be our first, interview. It's just like 30 minutes. Please enjoy. Good evening, sir, and welcome to our port. Awesome. First of all, we want you to tell us what the experience has been like for a few months here at GPHA.
I must say that it's been interesting and stressful. Interesting because I am out of my comfort zone, out of what I've been doing for the past 35 years. And now I'm in a new environment. Challenging because a lot of pressure from all angles. So you have to manage and make sure that you yourself, you are not under pressure and stressed.
That was going to be my next question. That was the experience like, like you mentioned, out of your comfort zone. You've dedicated your life to the Ghana Armed Forces all these years, and this is a new test that you happen to find yourself in the shipping industry. How is it going for you?
So far, I would say that I cannot mark myself. It's up to our stakeholders and then the workers who will be in a better position to say how I've fared so far. As far as I'm concerned, I'm of the view that having served in the military, we have been trained and prepared to work in any environment, no matter the situation. You just have to understand the environment, then you adapt, and then you take it from there. But the main issue has to do with the discipline that doesn't, I don't want to say doesn't exist. That I think is a bit low. I think it's all over the country because when you are even driving, you see how people drive all over the place. So I wasn't surprised when I got here and I realized that discipline was one of the areas that I have to concentrate on. Because if you are disciplined, you should be able to succeed in life. And the industry is like that. If you are not disciplined, it may be difficult for you to succeed.
Talking about discipline, when you came, there was a start paper. You made it explicit and clear that your vision for GPHA is going to be hinged on three cardinal points or pillars in hard work, discipline, and fairness. How is this panning out for you?
I think when it comes to discipline, I think we are making a headway. Fairness, I'm doing my best because when I took over, I realized that the vast majority of the workforce were not happy because of previous promotions that had taken place, where people were jumped over their colleagues. We have instances where somebody within 2 years was promoted 4 times. So based on that, I decided to ensure that there's fairness in the system. I decided to investigate the promotion issue, and I must say that the report is out, and I've given to an implementation committee to see to advise me on how to implement it. And I want to say that it will be implemented according to the letter.
Awesome. Now, I know there are some challenges that you came to meet and that you are trying to ameliorate or address. One that I can mention that really comes to mind is the issue of congestion in the port, and this has attracted the attention of port users who have complained. Have you taken any steps to deal with this particular situation?
Yes, when I came, The congestions that we have here, we have some mainly at MPS and the other 3 terminals. So when there's congestion at MPS, it means the number of days that our clients have to clear their goods are shortened. And then it falls within the demurrage zone. So when I took over, we had over 6,000 containers stuck at MPS. So we had to strategize and see how best they can be moved as early as possible to the other terminals. So we used to depend solely on the third-party trucks. I realized that we couldn't depend on them. So with the permission of my Honorable Minister, and because the board has not been constituted, he agreed, and then we had to lease some vehicles to ameliorate the situation. And as we speak now, I can state that on the average, previously it was between 5,800 and 6,000, but now we are at 1,000. As of this morning, we had about 520 containers at MPS. But most of them are the excavators because of the government policy on the ban on excavators. So those are the majority of the items at MPS. Coming to the other terminals, space, because there has been a general increase of about 20% in container business throughput. So that's an area that we are looking at. So we had to move some of the UCL containers to go. And then, we have a lot of excavators, more than 1,000, about 1,100 as of last week, excavators. And we have about 2,600 ECG containers that are still stuck here. We have some containers that belongs to COCOBOT. They are all here. So they are also creating a lot of problems. Where to keep them and then to adjust in such a way that you can prevent your customers from attracting demurrage. So that at the end of the day, the cost of doing business here will be reduced. So these are some of the measures that I've put in place to make sure that the congestion is down. But as we speak, I think we have made a significant headway.
You mentioned the MPS and the acquisition of the trucks or leased trucks and all. And I know that you have instituted measures to create an access road from MPS to the other terminals to shorten the duration that these trucks spend whilst moved from MPS to the other terminals. Can you tell us about this particular project?
Yeah, it shortens the distance to about 3/4 of the total distance, and we are almost through. I'm engaging with MPS, Mr. Samara, and then we are making headway. So when that is completed, that project is about 90% complete. When that is completed, we will be waiting for containers at this MPS, not the containers coming to wait for GPHA to move them to the various terminals. So I want to assure you that we are working hand in hand with MPS so that at the end of the day, the route will be completed. And then fast movement of containers from MPS to the terminals. And I also want to take this opportunity to appeal to our clients, free forwarders, that when your container arrives, as much as possible, try and clear them. Don't wait until 3 to 4 days. That's the container is about attracting demurrage, and then you all rush here. Now we have 24 hours. If you want to come within the daytime, you can come here in the nights, and we still operate 24 hours. So these are all measures that we put in place to ensure that the port runs smoothly.
Since we're talking about routes, let me take you back to the recent one that you also did. You championed and led the charge for the rehabilitation, so to speak, of the Mangwati roundabout road to the port. This was in a very deplorable state and more trouble, and we had freight forwarders and port users calling on the Port Authority to do something about it. And when you heard it, you didn't rest on it at all. You took action. Can you tell us how you were able to get this done within that short period of time?
It came to my notice. I drove there myself, and one day I watched a documentary, and I really felt bad. So I looked at ourselves and I said, no, what can we do to ameliorate this situation? Because it was raining, and they were using the shoulders of the road, among others. So I spoke with my minister, and then the road is under Ghana Highway Authority, so we have to speak with the Minister of Roads and Honorable Abuja, and then we agreed in principle that at least we had to do something. So as part of our corporate social responsibility for the people within the enclave, we had to, divert some of our resources to fix the road. And I must say that I think the road is now very good. And as part of for the port expansion, there are plans to construct the road from motorway to the port, that's the Harbour Road. And when it is completed, we'll have 3 overpasses and all the intersections, so that within 10 minutes one can move from Tema port into the motorway. And we are still working that with MPS, and we are sure that we should start before the end of the year, and then we'll be on the path toward smooth doing business and to reduce the cost of doing business.
So still on roads, I know you mentioned community terminal. As part of efforts or measures to decongest the port of Tema, you have moved some traffic there. And I know there is one particular route that accesses the Unity terminal, and concerns are that yes, if GPH is able to work on it, that will come in handy for the transportation of cargo to that road. Have you and your team started to think about it and see what you can do about it?
Yeah, we start with my engineers and advisors. But that's a huge project, and I know government is already undertaking that project. So we are liaising with the Minister of Roads so that it will expedite action on that portion of the road so that to make things easier. At the moment, we are to operationalize Boom, the Unity terminal. We have some company that has come in, so the idea is to go into partnership and not to concession. So we're going to partnership so that certain aspects of this will be jointly run. For example, movement of containers from here to there, and then staffing and non-staffing, so that as much as possible. The plan is to move transit containers there, so that our brothers from the Sahelian countries can easily move from home straight into the motorway and then go to Burkina Faso, Mali, and then Niger. So that's the idea, is to operationalize it by moving the Sahelian countries to the place so that we can decongest the ports.
Awesome. All right, so you mentioned some of the things that you have done to bring about some efficiency in port operations. I want to find out from you, what are generally some of the things that you have done, to enhance operations in the port, to ensure that there's efficiency and these things are effective?
Well, what comes to mind is, the cost of doing business here is slightly higher than Lome and Abidjan. So, based on our analysis, we realized that we were charging our clients certain taxes or levies that were not applicable in those countries. For example, COVID-19 tax on transit goods, VAT on transit goods. I don't know economics much, but I know VAT is applied on consumer goods. But since the goods are not consumed in Ghana, so I was thinking that, so we've engaged with the Honorable Minister of Finance. He has assured us that he will do something about it. That's one. And then, if that is done, we will attract more of the Sahelian countries. Two, we intend to dredge, and I want to state that we are almost through with the dredging arrangements. So hopefully by the end of next month, we'll be dredging the ports. At the moment, the depth is about 8 meters, so we intend to dredge it to about between 12 and 14, because as we speak, a lot of big vessels cannot berth here because the bigger vessels cannot come. But when that is done, we will have a lot of big vessels coming in, and then the turnaround time will be reduced. Also, in preparation towards the 24-hour economy, our plan is to concentrate first on operations. So we have, with the blessing of my honorable minister, we arranged and then we've leased some pickups because operations drive everything. So by next week, I'm sure we should be able to commission the pickups. We have about 45 of them, and then some buses because our workers have to be moved to commute them from their various houses to the office, and then after work they can be dropped. So that's the first phase. At the moment, most of our, basically this decision was taken because when I took over, I realized that our maintenance cost was very, very high. Two, our maintenance culture is really poor. But looking at where I come from, where we don't have a lot of vehicles, but the little that we have, we make sure that when they are due for servicing, but you come to the port, we have a lot of broken down race stackers, forklifts, vehicles, and other mobile harbor crane. We leased 2 from a private company. Those ones are working for almost 5 years continuous. So I'm of the view that because our maintenance culture is really poor or bad, leasing is the way out. When you lease, you release part of your resources, capital resources, from the acquisition of those capital items into operations so that you can operate more effectively. So if you lease, for instance, maintenance, insurance, and other things will be off. So the idea is that's why we lease those pickups and then other things. So the idea now, the next phase is equipment, the race stackers, and then the forklifts. So they will also be operational very soon. And then after that, we think about what the workers in terms of management. Most of the vehicles are in a deplorable state. So these are the phases that we have put in place to make sure that we become operational. Then supervision is also one thing. So that hinges on the discipline. And I go around surprise visits, among other things, to make sure that the right things are done. And then fairness, I'm of the view that if somebody works hard, he should be rewarded. So this explains why I'm taking measures to make sure that most of the promotions that were not done well, the right things are done. I don't want to state what will happen to preempt the committee's work so that the right will be done. So I'll make sure that promotions are based on merit. And when you work hard, you'll be promoted and you'll be rewarded. So that will serve as an incentive. And then in my administration of the personnel, I'll treat each and everyone fairly. Nobody is more of a human being than the other. Everybody will be treated fairly because that's one of the principles that I believe in. So these are some of the measures that I'm putting in place to make sure that there's efficiency in ports, and at the end of the day, the cost of doing business will reduce. When that happens, definitely we'll get a lot of customers from other countries to patronize our ports.
So you mentioned the issue of equipment and all that, and having workers man these equipment. You mentioned the maintenance project is quite running. In terms of training and recruitment of drivers and operators of these equipment, are we up there? How do we ensure that they contribute to a longer lifespan for the vehicles and equipment that they use?
At the moment, we depend mostly on dog labor for these drivers, forklift operators, and other things. So the plan is to liaise with them so that we can build their capacity. I know they do it, and most of the equipment that we use to, those are broken down. As part of the agreements that I went through, most of them are supposed to train our personnel. Pasico, Damen, and other companies. So most of our technicians and our operators have the opportunity to travel outside for training. Now, that can be decentralized so that the workforce can also have the opportunity to grow their capacity, because most of the work here is done by those at the lower level. So we liaise with the doctor companies to make sure that we get the right people to operate our machines.
All right, so this is our report here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we are having a conversation with the Director General of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Brigadier General of Ports in Kenya. He took over the reins of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority in some five months ago, and he's done so much that I think that he's attracted the attention of all industry players, and they think that yes, he's steering the Port Authority in the right direction. So let's take a look at the 24-hour economy. You mentioned it in one of your submissions. You led the charge, galvanized the support of the team, and then you incorporated the ideas and inputs of stakeholders in the industry, and this has seen the light of day. Can you tell us how you're able to do this?
As part of government policy, you all know that 24-hour economy was one of the promises of government. So when I took over, because I was in a new environment, I had to depend on the staff. So, and I must say that I have a lot of dedicated staff who give me the necessary advice, necessary support that I require as a DG. So, as a team, we hold management meeting at least twice a month. We discuss, so we sat together, discuss the modalities, how to implement it. And then we set up a committee that sat and came out of what? Plan of action. And then another committee was set up for what? Implementation with timelines. And then in the military, we don't joke with rehearsals. So we have to rehearse by piloting. And then we have to now engage. Before the piloting, we did some engagement with the various stakeholders to get their buy-in and for them to know that this is about taking place. And I must say that it was very, very successful. They were all interested and the enthusiasm was there. Then after that, we piloted it for about a week before the D-Day on the 2nd of July. So it's a teamwork, because I cannot sit here and say that I did it. GPHA did it, both Tema and Takoradi. We came together, planned together, engaged our stakeholders together, piloted it together, and we are implementing it together.
Awesome. And so far, have you received any feedback from our customers, the clients of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the freight forwarders, the importers, the exporters, and all who do business?
Naturally, new projects come from us. Oh, it's unexpected. But normally, most of the problems that we have to do with some of the stakeholders not being present in the night. So when that happens, we try as much as possible to engage to ensure that we are present. And that goes with what? Supervision. So we appeal to the various stakeholders who are supposed to be here 24 hours that please always make sure that we are here. In the military, we don't like oppression. We believe in what? Taking action. So I don't like oppression. So as much as possible. But I don't have the powers. I don't have the powers to what? To punish. So as much as possible, I try to engage, after which I may have to what? Escalate it to the next level. That's reporting it to their heads of departments. But so far, I think things are going well.
Well, I know I happen to be privileged to sit in some of these stakeholder meetings and some of the issues that came up in the lead up to the implementation of the 24-hour economy. Had issues of security, concerns of security, concerns of lighting or illumination the port to facilitate smooth, as it were, operations in the port at night. And also issues that came about to do with perhaps unavailability of a waiting area, for instance, at Terminal 2, for customers to relax as they go about their business, and also maybe washroom facilities and all that. Have you been able to fix all these?
In terms of security, my colleague, the port security manager, is doing a very good job.
Right.
And then I must say that the regional commander here, police, is a wonderful man, and then he's supporting us. And he's always all over the place. And then I might also say that the Ghana Navy is also on standby to assist. Lightning is a problem because it requires a lot of resources. So what we have done is to get some 4 mobile lighting systems. And the procurement system is such that you have to go from stage 1 to stage 2. So we managed to acquire some 3. We are waiting for the 4th one. And then the plan is that we will make sure that all the areas that are currently operational, we have at least there is something that will enable operation to take place. And then we expand the lighting. Waiting areas we are managing, and then the washrooms, basically most of them have to do with cleanliness, which we are putting measures. And then we are also trying to getting people to come and construct prefabricated offices and toilet facilities to ensure that when people are here in the night, they will get places to use. Because most of what we realized was that most of the toilet facilities in the night were locked. So we've spoken to most of the stakeholders to make sure that these are done. And we have about 3 or 4 toilets that are in a really terrible state. So we are working a contract for their renovation. So that everything is work in progress. There's a saying that if you want to wait until you get money before you marry, you will never marry. You better marry, and then you will still make it.
Finally, sir, before we allow you to go, the issue of the operation. I mean, it's one that comes along with the 24-hour economic operation. Tell us how we are managing this.
Good. At the moment, we've done with our human resource analysis, and then there are plans to see how best we'll recruit to operationalize the 24-hour economy. We are step by step, but this is an area that I must state that the pressure. At the moment, I have more than 10,000 applications. And I'm wondering,
people seeking for jobs.
10,000 plus every day when I open my mails.
Floodgates.
Employment. So I'm even wondering how I can manage, but through collaboration and then engagements, we'll see how best they feel that we'll have the opportunity. So we'll do our best. It's not easy, but we'll do our best. So that's why we want to have the equipment first, because if we employ without equipment, they'll be idle. So if you have the equipment and you employ, then straight away they start work. So that's the idea.
Your final words to staff, stakeholders, and all that.
I would like to thank you so much for the support so far. It's been wonderful. I know there are some who are uneasiness, especially those that were promoted and have been investigated. But take it easy. In life, we have ups and downs. When you are going through the difficult parts, don't think that's the end of the world. Others still suffered, so just take it easy. It's been wonderful. Stakeholders, I must say that it's been good working with you. Ajokache, my junior brother, Professor Jampo, and Abingobit, and others. I must say that I've loved the collaboration and the support that I've received. MPS, my minister, the board chairman, and the unions, both junior and senior staff. I must say that it's been wonderful, though stressful, but we shall make it together. I believe in teamwork. You can't operate alone, so you must carry everybody along. So I want to state that GPHA staff, as much as possible, I'll be fair to everyone. I'll treat everyone equally. If you are due for promotion, unless there's no vacancy, be considered. I also want us to be disciplined, change our attitude towards work. You shouldn't wait to be told what to do before you do. It should be like what, mechanical, and then hard work. I forgot one of the institutions, SWAC, my brother Ayana, to have been very, very wonderful. So, Mr. Ayana, thank you very much for your support, your advice. And then when I'm in trouble, I always call him for advice, so he gets supportive. So, lastly, my clients, freight forwarders, please, when your goods arrive, try as much as possible and clear them as early as possible so that we'll be congested the port.
All right, so that was a one-on-one with the vintage and quintessential Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Brigadier General Paul Sedu Tanyakulono. We're going for a quick break. When we return, we'll just jump straight into the next discussion. Please stay with us.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP will feel ya, huh? Will be feel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena. You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately. There you have it. Serena is not just a tool, it's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain with our range of products, including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds. We have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us on 0302 246319 or 0302 246644 or any of our branches, agencies, and brokers spread across the nation. You can as well connect with us on our WhatsApp chatbot. Efiba is waiting to assist you. Make the future predictable with Phoenix Insurance. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back. And like I said, our second discussion centers on how to handle dangerous cargoes in our ports and along our corridors here. And this has even become more important stemming from the fact that, yes, we've begun the 24-hour operations in the ports. And so we'll take a look at what constitutes dangerous cargo, the best way to handle them, and what the Port Authority is also doing, that's the Fire and Safety Department, to ensure that we don't have any incidents. Plus, I also mentioned the fact that the terminal that's solely dedicated to handling dangerous cargo in the ports is also right here in the studios. We couldn't have done so this discussion without the involvement of the regulatory agency as well as the Environmental Protection Agency. And so at this juncture, let me introduce our guests in the studios. Madam Kafu Iboni is the Principal Program Officer, Chemicals Control Center, Chemicals Control and Management Center, Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome to our report.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Also in the studios is Mr. Andrew Taino, who is the Deputy Fire and Safety Manager, Port of Tema, not a stranger to Iron Port. He's been here before. Good evening, sir, and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. And I also have Madam Yasmin Arthur Shiagbo, General Manager in charge of the Tema Bonded Terminal, TBT. That's the terminal solely dedicated to handling dangerous cargo in Ghana or in our port. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome.
Good evening, and warm greetings to your viewers and listeners.
Awesome. Thank you very much indeed. We are to be joined via Zoom by Mr. Ghassan Husseini, who is the Managing Director of Crown Transport and Logistics Company Limited. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Oh, there you are. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We are grateful. I'll be coming to you. But let me begin.
Thank you.
Yes. We are well by His grace. Thank you very much. Let me begin with Madam Boni and find out from you what actually it is that constitutes dangerous cargo. If you say dangerous cargo, what is it?
Thank you for the question. So when we say dangerous cargoes, they are hazardous materials in general, and then they are classified with their properties, be it chemical or physical properties. So there are different classes of dangerous goods, and Ghana follows the international classification.
Right.
So I said earlier that we use the chemical or physical properties. So we have explosives that form the class 1 chemicals, and I'll mention an example of that. So fireworks or ammunition is an example of
fireworks.
That.
Is it what we call when we're kids knockout?
Knockouts,
Okay.
yes. And then we have class 2, which are gases. So
Okay, so I can see.
yes, so we have LPG, oxygen. They are all examples of gases. And we have flammable liquids as well, which form the class 3. So we have petrol or fuels, paint, alcohol, thinners, the lacquers and all that. They are all flammable liquids. And we have flammable solids as well. So example is matches. The matches we use in our kitchens.
Yes.
Example of flammable solids. And then we have oxidizing substances and organic peroxide. So an example is hydrogen peroxide, which is used mainly in industries as well. And then the class 6 are the toxic and infectious chemicals. So we have our pesticides, that is insecticides, herbicides, all the classes of the pesticides. That's our farmers and public health is also used in public health. We have medical waste and then biological samples. They are all infectious and toxic substances. And then we have class 7, that is radioactive materials. So some of them are also used in the medical fields as well.
Right.
And then we have class 8, that is corrosives. So our acids come in here, they are corrosives. And then class 9, that is miscellaneous dangerous goods. So all the classes I've mentioned, if it's hazardous and it doesn't fall within the classes I've mentioned above, then we classify as miscellaneous. So some batteries are miscellaneous dangerous goods.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, I'll come back to you, but let me go to the Port Fire and Safety Department and go to Mr. Andy Taino, who's the Deputy Manager, and find out from you what safety protocols govern the reception and storage of dangerous cargo at the port.
The ports actually appreciate the devastating effect of these DGs. If you look at the chemicals that were mentioned, these are chemicals we use in our day-to-day activities, but if not properly handled, would cause so much effect. So the port is so mindful about that. So we also align our regulations with the IMDG, as you mentioned, the International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code, which are guidelines to actually guide the transportation, storage, and the handling of DGs. So it's under the SOLAS Convention and the IMO. So the port also draw its regulation from these international best practices. So it's expected that if an importer or a shipper, or if I put it a shipping line or shipping company intends to import any dangerous goods, there are strict procedures that they have to follow. So you have to make sure the cargo is properly identified, classified, as she said, properly marked, labeled. Because if you don't do that, for the purposes of emergency procedures, it becomes very difficult if there's a problem with the cargo transport unit for us to deal with it. So we need such information. So the port requires that you have to provide all these details to enable us plan in case there's an emergency, so that we can also properly segregate. When it comes to TBT, you have to make sure they are provided with all this information. So as a port, we see this aspect very critical because if you look at recent incidents like the Tianjin port, the Beirut explosions here and there, these are small gaps that cause this explosion in some of these ports. So the port has put in those safety protocols to make sure that these cargoes that come in don't go at the blind side of the port. So these are some of the small. And what we've also done is that, apart from that, we've grouped the various chemicals. We've classified them into groups. So you have group 1 and group 2. So for the group 1, we consider them as high risk cargoes. And for those ones, we don't allow them to even stay in the ports. You drop them on your truck away from the port. Yes. And for the class 2, those ones, we allow them to, so those ones find their way into TBT. But it happens that these chemicals have to stay, then we have to send them to TBT because that's a dedicated terminal to handle such cargoes. So these are some of the protocols that we put in place.
All right. So let me come to, awesome. Thank you very much. So let me come to TBT, Madam Yasmin Arthur Shabo, and find out from you how TBT, Tema Bonded Terminal, is equipped, so to speak, to safely store and manage hazardous cargo, particularly now that we are in the era of 24-hour operations in the ports.
Okay. Well, thank you for the question. And TBT, we've been in operations for almost 2 decades now, successfully.
That's a long time.
Yes. And with the 24-hour policy that's in place where the port is already running 24 hours, really.
Yes.
So operationally, our trucks are moving, bringing containers from the main port, the waterfront terminals to our terminal. And as you know, the port is closed, I think, 2 days in a year on Christmas and Good Friday.
Yes.
So operationally, the port is 24/7. We render our services to our clients, and so it's more leaning towards the client service aspect.
Right.
Clients coming in and clearing within the 24-hour period. But again, as a terminal, we don't work in silos. We work with other regulatory bodies, and so if everyone's available, then we're ready to serve the clients. And if the clients also give advance notice, then the terminals can prepare for them to be served. Also, again, as I mentioned, we don't work in a silo. We work really closely with EPA. We work with GPHA Fire and Safety. GPHA Fire and Safety, they do random and frequent daily, patrols to our terminals.
Right.
Sometimes it can actually come like 6 times or more in a day, just randomly, because safety is, it's a shared responsibility and it's of great importance to them.
Right.
And I think, from a centralization, channeling standpoint, it's the wisdom of GPHA to centralize such specialized cargo, which is the dangerous goods. So again, from an emergency response standpoint, GPHA, Mr. Taino's team can actually handle the situation better.
Right.
And then also, I'll say GRA Customs, they also believe in the practice of channeling. And so with both initiatives, it sort of centralizes and makes responses much more effective. And that's where we come in as a terminal. And we handle import dangerous goods.
Right.
Similarly, the transit terminal for GPHA handles transit dangerous goods.
Right.
And again, we also follow the IMDG code as Kafui mentioned. The booklet or the code usually every 2 years it's enhanced and revised, and it gets a guideline, as I mentioned, for packaging, even how you package dangerous goods. And sometimes the spillages that we have within our terminal is either due to poor packaging or maybe handling, right? So, the guideline is there for that, and then also to identify and declare dangerous goods properly by looking at the underlying chemical, and not just maybe trade names.
Right. Awesome. Thank you very much indeed. Let me go to Mr. Ghassan Hussein. And I know Crown, you audit most of the ports and transport companies in Ghana. I just want to find out from you where the ports in Ghana stand and what best practices can be adopted or emulated to make us fluid and to get our cargoes flowing freely without let or hindrance as far as dangerous cargo is concerned.
Let me boost your morale. We stand very good. Actually, Ghana Ports is one of the best ports. Actually, did due diligence to MPS specifically as a terminal, and I did also, I visited the port many times on many occasions during UNEP seminars, so I know the port very well. And we stand at a very good place. Probably we are one of the best 3 ports in West Africa. How can we make it better? Unfortunately, the certifications and audits to the port is not very common. Like, for example, you cannot get certified for IMDG. You can get your staff to be trained. You cannot go with a ISPS or they're a bit more complex for them to have it. But though you can also have something like a ICMI certification for terminals, like TBT is allowed to have certifications. Now, why am I saying all this? Because when you have such a standard, even if the implementations is 70%, we are safe. Because the moment you have a certain level of safety and you have a certain level of implementation, that will save you a lot of incidents. Probability of, I'm going to go bit, let me skip the technicalities. But just to give you an idea, the more the ports put an effort in its safety, the more it's safe. It's as simple as ABC. It's collective job for everybody, and this is how it is done. Yes, I audited many ports. Actually, I did due diligence on almost all the ports in West Africa. I did due diligence on some few ports in Europe. Also, I did an audit for a port in Lebanon. Unfortunately, I cannot mention the exact port because I'm not allowed. But yes, we stand very well. Actually, as Ghana ports, we stand very, very well. And bravo for the whole team, from MPS to the port to everybody. They've done very well. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much indeed. I'll still stay with you with the next question. And I know that your company handles dangerous cargoes like cyanide, if you agree with me. And can you walk us through the end-to-end safety protocols as far as this particular arrangement is concerned?
Kenny, the questions, thank you for the question, but I need like 2-3 days to answer this.
And today we are pressed for time, so you need to summarize.
You have to build up a whole management system. I'm thinking Mr. Teno, me and him, we worked on we did something in Mombasa actually together. It's a whole system you need to put together. It's not one transactions that you can say I'm gonna make my processes to be safe or the transport process to be safe. You need to build up a system called management system. You need to go with hazard effect and management process. You need to go with ICMI certification, ISO certifications, EPA permit. Definitely, this is a must. There are so many factors involved. But just to give you just a gist of what we do, every single delivery in transport we do, it goes through a convoy system, which means it's a closed convoy with an emergency response team, capable, trained, and equipped. If any of these three factors is not there, this means that convoy cannot move. And actually that convoy become useless, sorry with the word. Because in actual fact, if you are not trained, then you don't know how to handle the product. If you don't have the equipment, you are trained, but you cannot handle it because you don't have the equipment for it. So at every single step, you need these three things to be there. And to give you, we go also with police escort. Most of the deliveries we do, we go with police escort. So the entire thing, the whole combinations from a management system to the convoy management, to the ER team, to the equipment, all makes deliveries to be safe. If one of these items is not there, is jeopardized, let me move the word jeopardize, it put the convoy or delivery at risk.
All right, thank you very much indeed. Please stay with us, we'll come back to you. But let me come to Madam Kafui Boni and find out from you EPA's regulatory mandate in terms of handling, a moving dangerous cargo within the port area.
Thank you. The EPA is mandated by law. That's the Environmental Protection Law 2020. Authority. It's now Authority,
absolutely.
yes.
So it's still EPA anyway.
It's still EPA, yeah.
Sure.
So we have a new law now.
Right.
That is Act 1124. So this Act mandates EPA to issue permits and licenses to any facility or individual or company that wants to import, export, or facilities such as TBT. They handle a lot of dangerous goods. So EPA issues environmental permits to them as well. And we've not left out the transporters. So any company that transports dangerous goods, it's supposed to be licensed by the EPA. So that is what the law mandates EPA
to do.
Yes.
Okay, I'll still stay with you briefly and find out from you the most frequent non-compliance issues that you observe in terms of the handling of a movement of dangerous cargo.
Okay, there are a number of them. So the first one is inadequate documentations.
Right.
So facilities or entities are required to submit some documents before permits or licenses can be issued. Yes. So we have instances where people are submitting different documents altogether, or some are incomplete. Safety data sheets, very important.
Right.
But then instead of them taking it from the suppliers or the manufacturers, they just get anything from anywhere and submit. So that is one of the problems that we have. And Jasmine mentioned something earlier. So improper labeling or packaging is also another problem. So to identify a dangerous good, the labeling is very important. So even from afar, you see a truck coming once you see the UN number, you should be able to know what the content is.
Yes,
but we have containers or these trucks with no labels at all. So it makes it difficult for you to identify what the content is. And packaging is also another issue. And we have illegal shipments and then smuggling. So somebody is bringing in a dangerous goods. They don't want to use the right channels and all that. So it makes it difficult for us. And sometimes at the point of exit, that is when maybe the law catches up with them and they rush to EPA. Meanwhile, EPA's processes, some of them can take a number of days, depending on what you are bringing in. So there will be delays and they will be blaming EPA for it, but due diligence has to be done. And lack of training and awareness. So those handling the dangerous goods, do they have the requisite training? Are they aware, the transporters, the driver, is he aware of what he's carrying? In case of any accident or incident, does he know what to do? So that is also one problem that we have. And we have issues of overlaps between institutions. So regulators sometimes, EPA has to come in, FDA or whoever. And that clear line, it's not really there to know. Some of them are overlapping, actually. So it's kind of a burden on the importer or whoever is bringing in. So the person comes, customs says you need EPA permit. And he says, I already have FDA. I already have this. Meanwhile, without EPA, customs cannot release the goods to you. So what do? He now has to start the process with EPA, which also causes delays. So these are some of the issues that we have.
That brought your attention. Let me come to Mr. Tain of Fire and Safety Department, Port of Tema. Find out from you. Now we are in a 24-hour era. I just want to find out from you how the Tema Port is resourced and structured, so to speak, to be able to manage emergencies related to hazardous goods. Madam Yasmin mentioned earlier that, yes, I mean, it's no impact that the port were already operational, 247, particularly with the MPS Terminal 3. Now we've added, the T2, we've added reefer, we've added transit, we've added, one or two more. Tell us, how are you resourced and structured to be able to deal with, emergencies relating to
thank you very much for the question.
In the port,
In terms of equipment resource, I would say that the port has invested substantially when it comes to equipment. With a 24-hour policy on stream, the only thing has to do with vigilance.
Absolutely.
We need to enhance our patrols because naturally, human beings, when they get into the night, the probability is that fatigue sets in. You want to sleep. That's a natural physiology of the human being. So what we've done is that now we've intensified our patrols, our monitoring system in the night, so that we push more men to these operational areas. So that's basically what we've put in place to ensure that we monitor some of these operations, especially when it comes to the handling of DGs.
All right, so let me come to TBT. You initially mentioned the fact that the GPHA Fire and Safety Department is able to even work there in a day, sometimes 6 times, just to ensure that things are okay and all that. But what about your collaboration? How do you connect with the customs and the EPA in case of suspected breaches or emergencies?
I would like to actually just touch on a bit of what Kafui mentioned earlier on. With the declaration of dangerous cargo, actually there's a policy, GPHA has a really good DG policy or regulation. And basically it's like before the vessel even arrives, 72 hours before, they're supposed to declare all the dangerous goods that they have on the cargo. And then, again, for emergency response. To your question about how we coordinate, I can't emphasize that enough. We really work closely with the GPHA Fire and Safety and also Ghana National Fire Service. And then when it comes to customs and EPA, we work with customs chemists, especially if we have spillages. When we have a spillage from either poor packaging or whatnot, immediately we notify shipping lines, we notify GPHA Fire, and then EPA as well. Because again, with EPA, it comes to disposal permits and all of that, right? Yeah, so we just work to make sure everything's good there. And well, with breaches, we work closely with GPHA to identify dangerous cargo.
Yes.
Especially when they are not declared. And I think that's it.
Okay. All right. So I'll still take a last one from you because I can see the way time is ticking. It's running quite fast. Some of the common challenges or misconceptions you encounter from cargo owners or agents when handling dangerous goods.
Okay. So that comes back to what Kafui mentioned. Again, it's really sensitization.
Right.
Educating the public on dangerous cargo. I think there's a notion of safety matches, for instance. It's class 4,
Right.
It's class 4.1.
Right.
But there's this notion that safety matches, it's not risky, and so it's just handled anyhow. And then even fertilizers, some fungicides, herbicides, those fall under environmentally hazardous, which is class 9. But sometimes you see folks just holding it on their bodies and everything. So it's really massive sensitization. And I think we try to do that within the terminal with even the drivers that are about to get loaded. Sometimes our safety team will just gather them and advise them to be careful on the road. And then even some agencies who want to offload, let's say ammonium nitrate, out of the container, load it and transport, we advise them that, let it stay in the container for transportation. So this is our little way of trying to educate and sensitize the public as well.
Right. Let me go online and have a take from Mr. Husseini and find out from you the kind of regulatory approvals or inspections that are required before transportation of dangerous cargo from the ports to the various destinations.
Let me start it this way. For Ghanaian transporters, generally they are required to have an EPA permit. This is a must, it's not an optional. Then we have to go with, when you go to DG, there are different classifications and different products. Like for example, let's go specifically on cyanide to make it more interesting. Cyanide, you are not allowed to transport cyanide unless you have an ICMI certification, which is a protocol and the processes are there. I'm an auditor for ICMI. I'm a transport expert auditor and a lead auditor. So this is how the process goes. Other certifications that transporters need is there's 39,000 and there's 14 and there's 45. Now all of them are ISO and all of them are working for the same standardization. Let's put it this way. Apart from this, there is nothing much more that transporters need. However, the ports need only the ISPS, which is the only thing they need to use to have a certification. All the rest is more of a training or what we call individual based. Okay. However, I would like to step into a different thing altogether now. When I was audited in Cote d'Ivoire, there's something that you asked me before if there's something we can improve. There's something called SPECIAC. SPECIAC is a team formed by Ivorian government to escort all dangerous goods. SPECIAC is made of environmental officers, including military, gendarmerie. The whole team together, they are trained on handling hazardous chemicals. I was amazed with their processes because in actual fact is a government that have instated such a team and they've been very successful. And this incident happened after an incident happened with them in 2014, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and they had some few injuries. And since then, SPECIAC was formed, and since then it's been in action, which is very helpful for the country. I don't know if Ghana would do the same. Also, actually, I noticed one more thing in a few other countries that I could say. Some other countries, they have specified specific ports for handling hazardous chemical or DG cargo. Let me reverse it another way. Those ports are not allowed to import edibles. Everything edible or drinkables do not pass through that port. It's purely for chemicals or materials, raw materials. We can say chemicals, dangerous chemicals, anything else, but not edibles. Just to give an idea, as we are just mentioned by Tema or by Brigadier General, Paul. He said they have increased by 20% and almost 70% of the import of Ghana passed through the same port, Tema port. If you have an incident like what happened in 2012, one container of cyanide was having condensation on it, and it almost stopped the whole port. Can you imagine if we have a real incident in Tema port? The country will starve. So it's just food for thought. People should start thinking of an option of putting another port for hazardous chemical, or let's put it this way, for other products non-edible, so at least it doesn't affect the imports of the whole country, or we don't jeopardize the whole country.
Right.
I think this. I'm done with this.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much indeed. I think that I would go straight to Madam Boni, and you probably would have the last laugh because we are just 2 minutes away from wrapping up this evening, and to find out from you how the Chemicals Control and Management Center collaborates with the Customs, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and other port agencies under 24-hour operational environment.
Thank you. So EPA collaborates with customs and other regulatory institutions through information sharing. So with this single window ICAMS thing that we do, it's an opportunity for us to share information. So regarding imports that come in, it's one way. And then capacity building as well. Right. So there are training programs and workshops that we have together, and that builds our capacity. And we have interagency committees. So we have the Pesticide Technical Committee and the Hazardous Chemicals Committee, where we have representatives from various institutions serving on these committees. So at such meetings, issues are discussed, emerging issues are discussed, right, and then decisions are taken, or it helps with policy decisions. And we have joint inspections as well. But I must say that currently it's a bit on the low side. Right. But then it is something that we can revive as well. And this is also because EPA currently is not at the port. So it is somehow difficult for those joint inspections to be done. Right. But efforts are being made for EPA to get back to the port. So in cases where there are doubts about certain cargoes, then these joint inspections can be done to know exactly what is in there. And then when it comes to emergency response, so it's also another forum where we can share information and all that. Right. So we have NADMO leading, where EPA can also provide technical support, and fire and other institutions are also there too. So that's how we collaborate.
Awesome, awesome. All right, I think that we're just wrapping up, but this one is for you, so let me pick it. The messages are here, we can't take it out. We'll seek permission from our bosses in the office. If they give us the leeway or they go ahead, next week we'll have a part 2 of this discussion, because we haven't exhausted the questions that we have for you. It says, good evening, a good presentation by Madam Kafui. Thanks for bringing us the understanding on dangerous goods. This one is from Andrews in Spin Text. Thank you so much, Andrews. Well, so viewers, this is how we do the ketting on this week's edition of Our Report here on Metropolitan Television. Remember, in the studios have been Madam Kafui Boni, Principal Program Officer, Chemicals Control and Management Center, Environmental Protection Agency, Mr. Andrew Staino, Deputy Fire and Safety Manager, Port of Tema, Madam Yasmin Arthur Ashiabo, General Manager, Tema Bonded Terminal, and indeed, via online has been Mr. Ghassan Husseini, Managing Director, Crown Transport and Logistics Company Limited. Like I said, if our bosses give us the opportunity next week, we shall bounce back with this same team to discuss this topic, and then you would have the opportunity of calling in to answer questions that may be bothering you. Remember, today's program has been in 2 phases. The first one has to do with our Director General. We brought him down a beautiful interview with him where he told you where the port authority is facing, the direction, and what he's done so far. And then the second is this particular topic on the handling of dangerous cargo in our ports, particularly along the logistics corridor as well, and within this 24-hour, architecture My name is Kennedy Mona. I will say a big thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Revenue Authority, Guel PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. God willing, next week, we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of your favorite Iron Port program. We entreat you to watch our bridge version of Iron Port on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television. Thank you so much for choosing us. Good evening, and keep watching the rest of our programs here. Enjoy the rest.